Welcome to PE100 Module 2, and in this module we're going to be focusing on verbal communication. And this is our introduction to the discussion board, which is the first part of each assignment for these modules. And in the discussion board we're going to be studying the importance of hard skills, and that's typical through modules 1 through 6. So typically your discussion boards will be the hard skills, and the individual assignments will be the soft skills associated with whatever that subject is. And in our case, that is verbal communication for this module. And in this discussion board, we're going to look at the hard skills which are related to verbal communication and how we can apply these skills to provide you with a solid foundation as it relates to your communication. And most importantly, we're going to focus on communicating in a very efficient manner that is actively involved with the resolvement of problems and coordinating your work in a very professional manner. And that's our main focus throughout this module. So from that knowledge, you're now able to look at all your efforts to communicate that establishes the project record. And we haven't talked about this yet, but the project record is the cumulative result that comes from all communication in which you and every one of your staff members are involved with every day. And the project record serves to document the fact that you have performed in accordance with your contract and that you're doing so proactively. You're not having to be forced to do your work. You're actually out there managing it and doing it in accordance with what your contract requests from you. And the project record is the sum of all communications that have occurred on the project, and it becomes the base of fact in the event any kind of legal dispute ever occurs. And we just need to touch on that for just a minute. You're not attorneys, and we don't expect that to happen. So as long as you're keeping your project record current and it really is accurately describing in all your correspondence what you're doing and why you're doing it and how you're resolving your problems and how you're working on the job site, it gives that attorney, if there ever was a dispute, a great opportunity to go in and defend your company. But if you don't have a project record, the attorney is pretty much at a disadvantage because he can't prove anything. All he can say is, well, so-and-so said, and then it became a he said, she said type relationship. And obviously in that type of situation, the one with the most paper is going to win, or the best project record. So the legal system works on a much different set of rules than we do in the process of project management. And if there's no evidence in the project record that can substantiate a legal claim, then according to law, it just never really happened. Or it surely didn't happen the way you're trying to portray it. So that's why it's important in verbal communication. Guess what? We don't usually document our verbal communication. So we're going to look at how we can be smarter about using verbal communication to resolve our issues and to really stay as a leader on the project. And at the same time, have it backed up through the project record in the event some people forget what they did in the past. And we call that selective amnesia, because people have a bad habit of getting selective amnesia when they may not have acted in the way that they wished they had. So it's hard to believe that through all your work you could be penalized for some action simply because the project record doesn't support your claim. Or even worse, and we've seen it a lot of times, makes your company responsible for damages that were never your fault or your doing. And this is the typical trip case. A guy walks on a job site, trips, falls, says, oh, wow, the job site just, I just hurt myself. I'm going to be disabled for life. And we all know that he was walking on a public sidewalk, but we can't prove it. So, and that's just the facts of it. There are frivolous lawsuits, and they're quite invasive. I mean, and they happen throughout our industry. So by keeping your project record up to date and very current and accurate allows your legal teams to be able to fight off all these frivolous lawsuits that are being thrown our way. And, and I'll just reiterate it. Luckily, if you've established your communication skills to such a point that every action which you make is documented in some fashion, then you have a good chance of avoiding or mitigating any legal situation that may happen on a job site. So that's the importance of what we're trying to say here. And verbal skills is really hard because we are speaking, but we're not writing it down. And luckily, in some cases, we rely on, as humans, we're going to rely on our verbal conversation to discuss problems or to communicate different ideas. And in a lot of cases happens in regular meetings, which is great. But then you also have the ones where you're just speaking with your general foreman over a specific subject, or you're talking to the sheetrocker or the plumber. So, you're always going to be using verbal communication as a way to resolve things. And what we're really going to try and focus here is that once you've got it resolved, are you able to substantiate that, in fact, through the project record at some time? And, that's easier said than done, but it is possible to do. So, therefore, as we begin to focus on all the skills related to communication, verbal skills will be of great importance to you throughout your career. And in this next chapter, we're going to begin to look at how we're able to document your verbal communications in a way that best serves the project and serves you as being a professional, which only increases your net value to the company and to the other people you're working with. So we're going to go ahead and move into chapter 2, and we'll start beginning to discuss all that type of stuff.